On today's Andy and Ari on 3 presented by BetMGM, it is a Megaboard Wednesday. And we have lots of hot topics fresh off the message boards from Bama Online. Alabama's initial eligibility report for the Oklahoma game came out, and there is a defensive lineman who will be missing from that game, and it's a pretty big deal. And another person questionable that Alabama probably needs to play. From Husker Online, Dana Holgorsen, the offensive coordinator for Nebraska, opens up on the Dylan Raiola transfer. From Blue and Gold, can you imagine Marcus Freeman munching on a Pop-Tart, toasting a Pop-Tart in a trophy? Well, they can't. And from the Wolverine, more coaching search speculation. And of course, from VolQuest, what is going to happen with the Tennessee quarterback situation as you see names entering the portal? We talk about it all on today's episode of Andy and Ari on 3, presented by BetMGM. We are presented by BetMGM. We use BetMGM lines and totals, and you can join us by joining BetMGM. If you have not signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code CFB as in college football, CFB, and you'll get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how that works. Download the BetMGM app and sign on using the bonus code CFB. Deposit at least $10 to place your first wager on any game. You'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code CFB when you're signing up. So download the app, deposit at least $10, place your first wager, up to $1,500 if your first bet loses. Use the bonus code CFB when you sign up. Make this college football season one for the history books. Make it legendary with BetMGM. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers are not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. Call 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. Call 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa or 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only, subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code CFB and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. Welcome to Andy and Ari on 3, presented by BetMGM. It is a Megaboard Wednesday. That's right. The hottest topics from all the message boards across the On3 network. And Ari, there are so many things to talk about. But of course, we got college football playoff games this week. Friday night, Alabama at Oklahoma. So we'll go to the Bama Online message board. And our guy, Charlie Potter from Bama Online, posted this on Tuesday night because the college football playoff availability reporting system, very similar to the SEC's, where 3 days before the game, you get a report. And so we had the Alabama-Oklahoma one. We will have the one for the other 3 games on Wednesday night. But on Tuesday night, we got the Alabama-Oklahoma one. No real surprises on the Oklahoma one other than R. Mason Thomas not on it, which means we're probably going to see Oklahoma star edge rusher for the first time since the Tennessee game. Alabama, LT Overton out. He also missed the SEC championship game. Also questionable tight end Josh Cuevas, who, if you're watching the show last week, I said this is a guy who was very important to them in the first game, seems to be very important for them in the run game, which is fairly non-existent. Ari, the line didn't move on BetMGM. Still Alabama by 1. But when you look at this injury report or availability report, does it make you a little more worried about the Crimson Tide?
I just wanted to say congratulations to you, Oklahoma, for getting a good break in some injury news. It's been a long time since you guys were on the positive end of this. So I don't know. I think that this kind of LT Overton being out sucks. You would have rather seen him as a questionable or, maybe, probable or something like that, obviously. But Cuevas was going to be questionable. This was my view on it from the beginning. So I don't know that changed my mind on anything. What about you?
And it didn't change my mind because, again, both teams are limited offensively. Whether LT Overton played or not doesn't change the fact that Oklahoma's fairly limited offensively. The R. Mason Thomas being yet another person to run at Ty Simpson is a little bit scary. Mm-hmm. The Josh Cuevas questionable part does scare me a little bit for Alabama because, again, we were talking about their tight end situation. He's important to the run game, which needs all the help it can get under any circumstances.
Yeah.
And so that part I worry about.
Safety valve, too, in the passing game. Certainly
yes, especially against Oklahoma, against this defense. The first time, that was his best game probably as a pass catcher.
Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know. I'm not breaking down the atom here or anything, but if you have an extra pass rusher who's really good at getting to the quarterback, like that also then now increases Alabama's need for a reliable safety net. So the hope obviously is that everybody will play and they'll be at full strength. That's what you want from teams that are playing in this setting. But, I think that if I'm Oklahoma or Alabama, I feel much better if I'm Oklahoma right now, getting that guy back. So the last we saw him was when he made that big play in the Tennessee game, right? He hasn't played since.
Right. He scored on the play and was injured during the strip sack return for touchdown. He hurt his quad, I believe, on that play. And so that's the last time we've seen him play. And R. Mason Thomas is a difference maker for Oklahoma. Now, I will say they have a lot of difference makers when it comes to guys rushing the quarterback. They can do it from the edges. They can do it from the inside. They can bring linebackers. They are really loaded in the front seven. So
I do wish that our audience would have been able to see producer Rivers' face when R. Mason Thomas made that play, because I was sitting next to him and he was not in a good spot when that happened.
No. And then all of those Tate Sandell field goals in that game.
Well, because Tennessee was dominating the game, it felt like, for the first quarter and a half, and then that play happened, and then all the wheels fell off. So they're getting that guy back. I sometimes I feel like it's easier to describe who they're getting back through something like that than he's really good. Like, he literally, I think, was the reason Oklahoma ended up winning the Tennessee game.
The one thing for Alabama that is not on the availability report that I think is going to be helpful for them is an injury thing, but not something that's really been discussed as much. I mean, like Kalen DeBoer's been asked about it, but Ty Simpson looked very banged up at the end of the Georgia game. And we saw where it looked like he kind of tweaked his ankle on one play, but it also looked like before that, he just wasn't moving very well. And if you watch Ty Simpson all season, he's a good athlete. Like he gets out of trouble very easily when healthy. He can run pretty fast. He can get you a first down if you leave enough grass open. And against a team like Oklahoma, you got to be able to move around. You got to be able to slide out of trouble. You got to be able to keep a play alive and be able to throw downfield. And the version of Ty Simpson that played against Georgia, I worry would not be able to do that against Oklahoma. Now,
when was the last time you rolled your ankle really bad?
It's been a while, but that's not what I'm worried about. I'm more worried about his back. I think he's going to be the ankle part, because he was still running around on that in the game. So
yeah, and I feel like if you roll your ankle, that's a 1 week recovery for just a normal person. So for somebody like that's got the treatment and stuff. But yes, you're right.
Yeah. So what was the bigger issue that was kind of seemed to be slowing him down a little bit before the ankle thing? That's what I worry about. But that's also something that I believe with time you can heal up. And so he's had a couple weeks off. I think we may see the full strength version of Ty Simpson, which is, let's be real here, Alabama's only chance.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're suddenly going to develop a run game where they never had one. And Oklahoma is going to send the dogs after you. No matter what, they do it to everyone, but especially when they know you can't run the ball.
Yeah. Echoing all that. That's the correct take on this. And I am kind of, tickled a little bit that both of these teams have been so limited offensively at times and are both in this position. It's like, we're talking about the playoff here. And it's like, you don't usually hear can't run the ball and playoff game in the same sentence.
Well, it's interesting that they both wound up with each other, because we talked we talked at length yesterday about the A&M Miami game.
Spider-Man meme.
this is a Spider-Man meme game too. And they're probably lucky that the rankings didn't get moved around one more spot, because I don't think either one of them would want to play A&M or Miami.
Yeah,
in this situation.
Well, that's the thing that I think is interesting about this discussion is that you felt, and I don't know if this has changed at all, that the winner of this game has a chance to go make a run into the deep portions of this tournament.
No, they have a chance to beat Indiana.
Yeah, and if you can't run the ball against Indiana, you're going to have a hard time.
You're going to struggle.
Yeah. So I don't know if I 100% subscribe to that notion, but at the same time, it's just Indiana, right? How bad could it be? How good could they be? They're just lovely.
It could be really bad based on what we saw against Oregon and Ohio State. Indiana's very good, but you got to win this one to get to the Rose Bowl, to play the Hoosiers, and you can underestimate the Hoosiers then if you'd like.
Yeah,
but you got to get past a team. And so for Alabama, it's interesting because we talked all along. With Kirby Smart, does Kirby Smart have an Alabama problem? And I'd say no after the last meeting between Alabama and Georgia. But now we have to
stop all those narrative. Like I know that we.
Oh no, let me roll one more out. You love narratives. You love feelings.
I love.
So let me roll one out for you.
They're so dumb. But go ahead.
Does Kalen DeBoer have an Oklahoma problem?
I mean, I guess everybody has a problem until they fix it, right? So like I guess you get to have.
I just think it's funny because the Oklahoma-Alabama game from last year had nothing to do with the Oklahoma-Alabama game this year. Like they're two completely separate situations,
completely different. Like Oklahoma stunk last year, and it was just Alabama laid an egg. This year they're just really good, and they lost a closely contested game against a playoff team. Very different.
Right. Exactly, but we've only seen Kalen DeBoer twice against Oklahoma, and he lost both times as the Alabama coach. So I'm with you. I wanted to throw that out because you are the one who does buy into narratives and feelings.
I love narrative. I love talking about narrative and what things mean. But like I always just thought that like the Kirby Smart thing, like, does he have an Alabama problem? Oh, you mean like the only really elite level team that he's had to play over and over again is the one that he wound up losing to when a coach has to lose games? Like, you can't go undefeated. Like, of course he's going to lose to Alabama the most. They're the best team he plays.
Yeah, and I'd say he overcame that.
Did you know, Andy, that most shark attacks occur in shallow water? Can you believe it?
That's wild.
Want to know why?
How's that even possible?
That's where the people are.
It reminds me of the old Sam Kinison bit.
Yeah.
Where he was talking about famine in Africa, and instead of dropping food, he was going to send moving vans.
Yeah.
We're going to move to where the food is.
Move to where the food is. Yeah, that's where it is. Yeah. So, can you believe that Georgia wound up losing to Bama a lot? Yeah, I can. Very, very easily can believe that. And also, if you want to zoom out too, if you take away the Ohio State Michigan result from last year, can you believe that Ohio State lost 3 games in a row before last year to Michigan? Yeah, they won the national title. I can totally believe it. Like, yeah, they're really good. You mean that the best team that Ohio State played both years, all 3 years? Yeah, I can believe that that's the game that they wound up losing.
Well, I'm glad we've dispelled that notion that Kalen DeBoer has an Oklahoma problem. I don't think he does. I do think he will have one if he loses this game, because everybody's going to be really mad at him. And obviously, and we talked about this, we've talked about it every day on the show this week. We're going to keep talking about it because the Michigan job is still open. And I think the Michigan job would be filled if they weren't waiting to see what happens to Kalen DeBoer on Friday. And I still don't think he's going to take it, even if he loses on Friday. But he could win this game, and that talk would end.
It's quite the gamble. So it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out.
My question to you, Ari, if Alabama loses this game, this is independent of the Michigan thing, where's the Alabama fan base with Kalen DeBoer at that point?
I don't think that the Alabama fan base is enamored with him right now. So I don't know. I don't know like, did the reports of Kalen DeBoer's connection to Michigan, whether it was real or not, just the reports or the notion or the thought process, ever like have a Alabama fan sitting up in their room at night worried about it?
I don't think they're worried about it, but I do think it actually kind of helps DeBoer a little bit with how the Alabama people feel about him, or I think it maybe should, because if every time a big job opens, the first name on the list is Kalen DeBoer, and that's with Penn State, with Michigan, that happened both times. That should suggest to you that you got a pretty good one.
Yeah.
And it also suggests to you that there probably aren't a lot of logical replacements should he leave.
There are two reasons to be scared, though. One is, are you scared? You're not scared because you don't think he would leave.
Right.
Or are you scared at the notion or the thought of living without him? And I think those are two very different things. I don't think that they're scared. I don't think that they're scared of the notion of living without him, which is the problem.
But where I would push back on a fan who is not scared of living without Kalen DeBoer is, who are you hiring? If you don't like him, who are you hiring? There's a reason his name keeps popping up number one on these lists, because there aren't other names to put on them.
Yeah. I'd like to see a few names cook in the Alabama position. You might be afraid of hiring him, but like, I don't think that like Alabama, the juggernaut, couldn't figure out somebody to be pretty good at the job. Like, but here's the other thing with the Kalen DeBoer stuff, Andy. I feel like no matter who it was, because he wasn't Nick Saban, there would be a segment of the fan base that would be disenamored with him.
Of course,
he doesn't have the same mannerisms. He's not as fiery. Like all it's not just the results of the
and the only way to overcome that is have results like Nick Saban.
Yeah, and if you win a national championship, then all of a sudden it's the same. It's the exact same thing that happened with his hoodie. Last year, everybody was pissed off because he was underdressed, and it wasn't the SEC thing to do or whatever he wore. Whatever, I don't even remember.
They were pissed off because he lost. They didn't care what he wore.
And then all of a sudden, they string together 4 wins in a row against ranked teams, and his like Nike hoodie was like a lovable thing. Like, it's just they might not like him because he's not Nick Saban, and the only way that you can become your own man, and like you see that happen, like. And I keep going back to Ohio State on this, but like Ryan Day had to replace a legend in his own right? And like it was Urban's team and Urban's team and Urban's team. And then eventually, does anybody talk about this Urban's team anymore? No, because he has his own accomplishments, his own equity that he built through winning the national title last year. And if they make a deep run here or win a national championship this year or next year or whenever, then Kalen DeBoer becomes his own man. And I think that that's the number one battle. It's not dressing different or acting different. It's creating your own equity. And that's, I hate to say it, Andy, a hard thing to do. It might take 5 years. How long did it take Ryan Day? How long did it take Kirby Smart to build his own equity? This isn't always a, do your own thing by year 2 or you suck. Like, it takes time. And now in this new competitive environment where you have to win 4 games in a row against other elite level teams, it's going to be harder to win national titles. And I got to tell you something, Andy. I think Nick Saban is as close to a godlike figure as this sport could ever have. I don't know that he would have won 6-7 national championships at Alabama if they were playing in this system that whole time either.
I think Nick Saban stopped coaching Alabama because he knew that.
Even if you take away the roster building aspect of it, and you could still give Alabama the same teams that they had and the same advantages they had from a talent perspective, I still don't know how many times they would have won a national championship if you had to double their number of games they had to win one. It's unquestionably harder to win a national title now than it's ever been before, both from a roster standpoint and a system standpoint. So it might take 4 or 5 years, but you know what? I hate to scare you, Alabama, but you might win one a decade now. Like, whoa, the horror, but that's
welcome to everybody else's world.
Yeah. I mean, if you actually like look back and think about who were the 5 biggest scary big bad wolves, and I made the mistake of this yesterday, Andy. I used the words blue blood when I shouldn't have used blue blood because and you got a front row seat when you did your list a few years ago, but you can't say those words and not strike a debate about who's a blue blood. That wasn't my intention.
Yeah, everybody knows their definition is correct and their list is correct, and nobody else's is. I don't really care what your blue blood list is.
Yeah,
I put out mine. You want to know why we put out ours? Because my editor goes, "Hey, can you put out a blue blood list? Because those go crazy when you put them out."
Yeah, people, I
don't really care.
I used blue blood incorrectly as a way to illustrate dominant current programs, and then people didn't catch the point, and they got into the blue blood thing. I don't care about the blue blood thing. If you have your blue blood list, hang it up on your wall and look at it.
Guess what? I'm going to put out another blue blood list next summer. It'll be different than the last one, and you guys will argue about it online, and I still won't care what you think.
Yeah. But how many of the teams that have been most dominant in my adult life have more than two titles? Ohio State's won 3 since 2000. Oklahoma has won 1 since 2000. Texas has
LSU
won
has
1
3.
since 2000. LSU has 3, but nobody has more than 3 outside of Bama.
Right. Yeah, Clemson
25-year period
has 2. Florida has 2 in the century. They have 3 going back to 96, but 2 in the century.
But if you're winning 1 national title a decade, you're doing great.
Texas has 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A&M has 0. Sorry, I had to include them because I'm an Aggie. Miami has 1, but that was in 2001. Like, nobody is like lighting up the way that you won national championships is weird. Like, I know you feel like your fan base is entitled to doing that. Like, you're never doing that again. It's just never going to happen again. I'm sorry.
And maybe nobody's ever doing that again.
Who's doing that again in this system?
Ohio State might.
Ohio State might go back to back this year, but they're not going to win it next year. Like Alabama, what was that crazy?
Are you going to bet your house on this? Like the Michigan Ohio State one a few years ago?
I don't know. You know what? I don't think they're going to win it this year anymore.
I have a question for Dear Andy and Dear Ari from our guy Brad, who used to play at Georgia, who's a very wise person and asks really good questions. So I'm going to tease that for tomorrow's show. But that's the topic.
Okay. So we won't talk about it too much, but I have Ohio State as my national champion on the official graphic. Like, I don't know if I want to do this. I've been thinking about it, but I think Ohio State might lose their first game to whoever wins the A&M Miami game.
I think they are looking at the bracket and they're like, we got screwed.
Yeah.
Just like Oregon got screwed last year.
And listen, I think Ohio State's the best team in the country. That didn't change. But there's a difference between being the best team in the country and then actually doing what you have to do, which is win 3 in a row. And that's hard. It's hard for anybody. And whoever does it is going to do amazing, memorable things the way that Ohio State did last year. But expecting your team to do that consistently every single year means that you have to be basically, if you win 5 national championships in a 10-year period, that means your coach is well above 500 against top 5 teams. And it's just a hard thing to do. It's hard to win 70% of your games against top 5 teams.
Well, Alabama will try to win its first national title since 2020, and Oklahoma will try to win their first one since 2000 when they face off Friday in Norman. Ari and I will be there. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be awesome.
You know, it just occurred awesome to me because I've been thinking a lot about our travel schedule when I called you, but I'm going to a holiday party on Thursday to, be with my wife at our company, which means we're going to be drinking. It's a terrible night to drink.
It is.
Because I'm going to be in a bad position already based on the travel plans. So we're going to have to get into touch with when we actually want to hit the road the next day. And I might just do water on Thursday night.
Mix in some waters, buddy. Mix in some waters, but you might have to have 1 or 2.
You're kind of
just to loosen up.
With me and you, though, I always kind of get the sense that you're the adult in the room. So, enjoy driving, pal.
Yeah. You should be careful with that. One of us killed the live feed on yesterday's show, and it wasn't you.
River was like, were you freaking out when that happened? And I was like, I'm like a toddler during a financial crisis. I didn't even know how big of a deal that was.
I was ready to retire. I was going to quit.
Yeah.
I was like, I should just leave now because I have failed. I had one job. River sent me the Peter Griffin, do not press the button, pressing the button gif. That was me.
People are like, where were you? You were a full-blown adult in 2008, right? When the financial crisis happened.
I was, yes. I had just bought a house because I'm a dumbass.
Okay, so you had just bought a house, and I'm assuming that there was a tremendous amount of stress that probably came along with that time of being an adult. I was just eating Filet-O-Fish in the student union, and I had no idea what was going on. And I feel like that, by and large, is kind of how I've carried out my entire life, which is, oh shit, there's some really big crap happening around me, and I'm blissfully unaware of constantly.
It's worked out well for you. Listen, if you want to have some drinks, you're going to be fine. I was going to let us sleep in a little bit on Friday, and then we'll hit the road.
Going on Friday.
We'll have that discussion offline. The listeners don't need to know this. All right. What they do need to know is that when you're getting gifts for the holiday season, you're getting gifts for coworkers, and it doesn't have to be over the holidays. It could be birthday presents, it could be anywhere. But right now is the best time to go to omahasteaks.com. The Sizzle All the Way sale. 50% off site-wide. Use the promo code Andy and Ari, that's ANDYANDARI, for an extra $35 off your order. Ari, I made some bacon-wrapped tenderloins the other night. So good. So good. Bacon-wrapped fillets. Now, my son is in bulking season since football season ended. I got one and he got three. But the one I had was delicious. The three I had disappeared, or the three he had disappeared very quickly. That burger you see on screen is a tenderloin burger.
That is like a restaurant quality burger, guys. Like that's not just like a make it at home burger. That looks like something.
No, it's better than what you get at most restaurants because that is ground tenderloin. OmahaSteaks.com, Sizzle All the Way sale, 50% off site wide. Promo code Andy and Ari for an extra $35 off your order. And now we will just head about 55 minutes west of Omaha to Lincoln, Nebraska. And our next Megaboard topic comes from our friends at Husker Online. Stephen Sipple wrote a column after talking to Dana Holgorsen. And so it is Dana Holgorsen talking everything, but talks about Dylan Raiola leaving, and that's an example of the quote-unquote new norm in the college game. And it is, and we talked about this yesterday, where this system has created a new kind of transfer quarterback, not the guy who can't get on the field, but the guy who does get on the field early, and then it turns out that maybe he isn't worth the price tag after a while, and you decide, hey, you know what? We can let you go, and we'll find somebody else.
Yeah. I also have had the thought, too, I wonder if we're because we're still in the pretty infant stages of like NIL compensation packages. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, like, as we always used to say, like, it's not going to go crazy because the market will set itself. I wonder if this is like the evolution of the market setting itself.
Well, this is the market coming back down on certain people. And
there's still going to be psychopath cowboys out there that will throw insane numbers at person because desperation definitely trumps common sense in the talent accumulation field. But like, I wonder if like what should the actual baseline compensation be for a elite level quarterback in college? Like, what is a fair compensation for a player?
Well, that's the question. Is this a 5-star recruit who's never played a game, or is this someone like, I don't know, Brendan Sorsby, who's leaving Cincinnati, who has clearly shown that he's a big time producer?
Like, are we getting to the point in time where there's a table, and if you are a Heisman contender, you get X. If you are a solid and proven starter, you get X. And then it goes, and then there's a table that these agents are working off of based on who is your guy and what are they entitled to. And
not yet, because there's still wild cards out there, like you said. Somebody who feels like they need to get the 5-star guy, or somebody who feels like they need to get the name guy in, who will be willing to overpay. But I will say, the league that has a table doesn't even get it right. Because like, what's the big NFL news today?
Tua Tagovailoa was benched.
Right. The Dolphins gave him a second contract. Like, benching him is a massive move because, like, he's a $65 million salary cap hit next year.
Benching him because it's cold outside, Andy. Okay, he'll be back. He's not good at the cold. Okay. But here's the thing that I don't know, because I don't cover pro sports and I don't really care about their contracts outside of like I don't know, like what you make in college, I think is far more interesting because there's no salary cap and it is more of a strain on what you're able to spend overall. But do professional franchises get into desperation mode? And like, I feel like maybe it happens in baseball a little bit more, like where like A-Rod got that 10-year deal that was insane and they were just so like desperate to get him. But do pro
teams also don't have a salary cap?
But do pro teams ever go into desperation mode and overpay for somebody, or is everybody kind of in a block of here's your production, here's your value, here's what you're paid? Like, I feel like it's more structured in the NFL.
I think they're less desperate because they're accustomed to it, and also because they have pretty pretty set rules.
Now
And
there are desperate
get,
moves. Like the Browns made a pretty desperate move when they went to get Deshaun Watson and gave up a lot of draft capital and gave a fully guaranteed
and
contract
it's viewed
to
as
somebody.
Perhaps the stupidest move in the history of the NFL.
But there's no
the stupidest personnel move.
There's no Tennessee out there, and I'm using Tennessee because Tennessee was really quick out of the gate. Of like, we want to get back to prominence. We're going to pay Nico X number of dollars because we need this to legitimize our program. Like that doesn't exist in the NFL, where like any team could pop up out of nowhere and go, oh, we're Purdue, and we're tired of losing. We are going to pay a ton of money to this random 5-star quarterback because we need to do something to legitimize ourselves. Like that doesn't exist in pro sports. Like the Bengals aren't going to go overpay somebody because they're the Bengals, Well, they're going to overpay anybody because they're the Bengals. Yeah.
But I transposed the numbers. Tua's cap hit is $56 million next year. But
that's a lot.
So here's the thing. They're headed toward a CBA in college football. So there will be a salary cap. There will be rules. There will be binding contracts both ways. So like, I bet if here's the thing, if the contracts were binding, you would not see as much money going to the quarterbacks out of high school. Because if you're stuck with somebody, like we talked about Raiola, we talked about DJ Lagway this week. DJ Lagway, if he were under a binding contract, the new staff would be stuck paying him what they have to pay him.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do that. And that's why DJ Lagway is moving on from Florida. But Dylan Raiola, probably a lot of the same thing. Like Nebraska would be stuck paying him whatever they got to pay him.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's actually healthy because you need some people to be stuck paying some people to learn the lesson of what it looks like when you make a mistake. Like the Cleveland Browns are in prison right now because they overpaid for the wrong guy, and now they can't field a functional offense despite having one of the best defenses in the NFL because they're overpaying somebody and they made a mistake, which then does what, Andy? Maybe when the Tennessee Titans want to do something similar, they'll learn from that mistake and not pay them. So like, I think that like it's healthy to overpay, and it's healthy for there are certain people, like if you actually go back and look at, I think I saw a graphic floating around, and I don't know if it was from us or from someone else, about the highest like reported salaries from the NIL season this past year. And like most of the guys on the list were like complete busts. Yeah. And like, I don't know, like, did Duke get their money's worth with Mensa? They won the ACC.
They won the ACC. So I guess.
Was that worth the $4 million? Like, was that worth it? And did he play commensurate with that income, or did Sam Levitt, was he grossly underpaid? Like, I don't know, but like the math is going to have to math eventually, right?
One would think, because I do think that's where they're headed. The SCORE Act, the bill you saw the stupid commercials for this season, never even came up for a vote in the House. Like it's never passing. It's never going to pass.
That was a pretty sick use of money though for them.
Yeah, really. Good work, guys. way to be. But that has caused some people to really kind of wake up and say, I'm talking about athletic directors, people who run conferences. Yeah, we're probably going to have to do a CBA. You are. We've been telling you this all along, but you are. But the good news is when you do, you will have binding contracts. Like you won't have players that, because we're talking about teams deciding players aren't worth the money. You also won't have players holding you ransom every year or every game. Like they won't be able to do that anymore because they'll have a binding contract going in their direction too. And you'll be able to have a salary cap that everybody has agreed on, that you can actually have real penalties if someone tries to break it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it would be kind of cool if like one crazy human can't change the salary structure for everyone. Because all it does is take one donor to lose their mind.
You say crazy and I say dumb. Like,
yeah. Crazy's nice.
All it takes is one person who's like, I love this guy. Let's give him a fortune. And it screws up the structure for everybody. That's what's going on now.
Andy,
now, as far as
you have art in your house?
No.
So my wife
is
like
now dogs playing poker.
Yeah, no, my wife's in this. Like, we need to get art to make our space more tasteful.
We're not tasteful people.
Yeah. By the way, when you see our house next time you come, you're gonna crap your pants because like they're like we got a designer, this whole thing. It's like that's where I was this morning at a presentation. It's wild what's happening here. Annie, but I went to an art gallery or like an art sales place with my wife in the last month. And like, let me tell you something. I don't know the first thing about art. I think it's stupid. But you look at some of these pictures. If you ever even walk through like a Las Vegas art gallery, and you'll see what looks like finger paintings. Honestly, it looks like, and it's like, that's $77,000. Like rich people buy the dumbest shit already anyway. Like, why can't
now imagine their quarterbacks?
Yeah, like I think that actually spending a lot of money on your quarterback for your favorite team is amongst one of the more rational financial decisions that billionaires do all the time.
You're probably right.
Like when you actually think about it,
when you think about it that way, you're right.
You have that much money. Like that's the thing. Is there a difference to me and you between making $5 million a year and $10 million a year? Probably not. Like our life would be the exact same.
I mean, give me $5 million and I'll tell you what another $5 million would do.
I think there's a certain level of wealth where once you acquire that,
I've always said this. At a certain point, you're just rich.
You're just rich, and I think that the people who are spending all this money, whether they spend $2 million or $4 million, it doesn't change anything about the bottom line or their day-to-day life. So go spend a shit ton of money on Bryce Underwood. That's your prerogative. What else are you supposed to what else are you supposed to do when you have that much money? How many more yachts can Larry Ellison's family have? Yeah.
So Dana Holgorsen did talk a little bit about what Nebraska is going to be looking for in quarterback evaluation there, because they're probably going to hit the portal. TJ Lateef is still there. One thing Holgorsen said about Lateef, according to Steve Sipple's column, is that Lateef's mobility was quote unquote refreshing and helpful. So is that
an insult? Is that an insult? Is that like honestly like? And I don't want to be
dramatic. He did not say anything bad about Dylan Raiola, and he said he enjoyed coaching him.
Andy, I know that podcasts live off drama, and I don't like engaging in it, and it's maybe one of the things that hurts.
You're going into Bravo show territory right now, but go ahead.
Is that statement a slap in the face to Dylan Raiola? Yes or no?
If we were watching a Bravo show, there would be a music stinger after he said it. Dun, dun.
But but I'm asking you, is that how you take that?
Of course it is.
Okay. Because I don't know if that's like me just being dramatic, because Britt and I stayed up till 1 a.m. last night watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which is, by the way, spicy as hell. A lot of cheating, a lot of sex, a lot of crazy stuff going on. But I don't know if I'm like in this dramatic phase in my head right now that I need to like get out of, or if that's like holy shit, I can't believe he said that.
Well, that's why I brought up the Bravo. I don't even watch those shows, but I've watched them in the past, and I know how they're structured. And that's one of those where if you were doing one of those shows, you'd have Holgorsen saying it, you'd have a music stinger, and then you'd cut to a shot of Dylan Raiola wherever he is. And that's exactly what you do. Now, I'm only interested in what this means going forward for Nebraska. Does this mean that they want a more dual threat quarterback? I would argue that Dylan Raiola's mobility was a problem because no one was blocking for him.
Let me get this straight.
That would be me.
Just because I'm in self-preservation mode here.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me that the thing that got me completely torched and terrorized on Husker Online for at least saying in the offseason is the thing that we're talking about escaping now? Am I on track there?
Well, we're talking about escapability is one thing.
We're talking about Nebraska escaping the inability to escape pressure.
Correct. Now, again, I would argue that part of that was because he was not being blocked for very well. Now, you, whether you're a Nebraska fan or not, may come back at me saying, well, wasn't his uncle the offensive line coach? And isn't the firing of his uncle the offensive line coach a portion of this situation? Yeah, it is. So,
and I actually think that
it's a lot. This is a Bravo show, by the way.
We would be doing Dylan Raiola a disservice, though, that if we didn't at least acknowledge that he got better at it. Because his freshman year, if there was somebody in his face, he was dead.
He was holding the ball too long, and he started to get it out. And I do think I don't think he's a lost cause. I think there's a right type of team for him and a right type of offense for him. He can be successful. Yeah, but you got to protect him a little bit more than Nebraska did.
You know what we spent a lot of time in the offseason doing truck trailer deals.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you pay a ton of money for a quarterback, you want a truck. But I think Dylan Raiola is a trailer, a really good trailer. And I think that if you put him around people that can take the top off of a defense, he can make the throws that you need to make to get there. I think if you put him in an offense where you can do a shovel pass to a guy that's lined up in the slot who can make someone miss and go 80, that makes him far more dangerous. I don't know if Dylan Raiola is the person that is going to will your offense down the field based on, putting your team on his shoulders and doing it himself. But I think he would be a very good complementary piece to a team that's otherwise situated with a lot of good talent up front and one or two home run hitters around him. Like, I think he could be fine. But like at the same time, how many quarterbacks in college football does that act like describe? Anybody would be fine behind a great quarterback. And
you know who's really mobile, who runs really well, who, when we had him on the show, we broke down one of his touchdown runs and Brendan the celebration afterwards.
Cincinnati.
Yeah. Brendan Sorsby. Yeah. And they've got a lot of tape on Brendan Sorsby because they played him in the season opener, but yeah. I'm not sure that's who Nebraska's in the market for, because it sounds like a lot of people are in the market for Brendan Sorsby.
I actually think that we're going to probably have a lot of discussions about this just in general in January, because college football dominoes or quarterback dominoes is what kind of drives the sport in that month. Funny enough, that's also the month that the national championship games played in. But I feel like every 5 years, like we change what we need or what we think we need at the quarterback position. Because remember, like when Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence and those guys were winning national titles, like I got it in my mind that you need to have a first round, like Joe Burrow, you need to have like a first round legit NFL talent quarterback to win a national title. And then that kind of shifted a little bit. And then Stetson Bennett won it, right? And then all of a sudden you need a scrappy kid that doesn't have to have NFL arm strength, but can escape pressure, make plays on his own. But like, here, say what you want about Stetson Bennett. I know he was a walk-on, and I know that he wasn't a 5-star.
He was a hell of a college quarterback.
That freaking guy was awesome. And I would say he was a truck. Was he a truck?
He didn't have to haul very much. He had some help.
He had a lot of help, especially on the other side of the ball. But like,
yeah,
no, there were plays that he made your jaw drop.
No, and he very much could make a play by himself. If something broke down, he could make something happen. And that's important. I think that's important in every level of football.
But like, what do you need in 2025 at quarterback to win a national title? Because last year, Will Howard.
It doesn't have to be a guy who has lightning speed or can just run all over a defense. You need to be escapable. You need to be movable, mobile enough. But like even Peyton Manning in the NFL was mobile enough. If you can sense pressure and step away from it, that's mobile enough if you get the ball out in time and you're deadly accurate.
I actually don't think we know, if I'm being honest, about what you need. Was Mac Jones mobile?
I think it depends on he was mobile enough. Like I said, mobile enough. But Mac Jones, great example of a guy who got the ball out exactly when it was supposed to be out and was deadly accurate.
I think that if you look at all the way, because Will Howard was mobile and he won it last year. And I think that using the most recent example is most important because it's the closest to where we are. But I also think that your quarterback can be a different type of quarterback depending on who you have around him. And if you go looking around at the teams that won the national championship between the years 2016 and 2020, you had super teams like with Devontae Smith on the team. And it's like, well, what you need from your quarterback isn't necessarily the same thing that somebody who doesn't have Devontae Smith would need.
Devontae Smith made Mac Jones a much better quarterback. Kyle Pitts made Kyle Trask a much better quarterback.
So I don't know, but I wonder, in the same conversation of what do you need at quarterback, and you create this chart, maybe truck trailer is a good way of how much money do you pay a person based on their ability to make plays on their own versus being a good complementary piece. And that's the way you should look at it. Does Dylan Raiola?
I think you should evaluate it based on your own team and roster. And it's like you just said, it's what you put around them. So if you need the quarterback to do more, then you pay more. If you need the quarterback to do less, then you pay less.
How many starting quarterbacks in college football last year, and this is going to come across as a insult to Will Howard, it's not meant to be, could have won a national championship as Ohio State's quarterback last year? I would venture to say you could come up with 50 names that could have done it. Am I right about that?
Yeah. When you get to throw to Jeremiah Smith and hand off to Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, and you have first-round offensive linemen blocking for you, yeah.
And Will
there's a lot of
Howard's
quarterbacks
really
who can succeed.
College quarterback who could run. He made plays on his own. I'm not trying to say he wasn't good.
So all you need is a national championship roster, but that's the thing, and this is the part where you're missing the point. Most teams don't have that. So now you need to get the best quarterback you can to elevate the rest of the roster.
Which is funny because if you're spending, like Duke spent national championship money on their quarterback last year.
Mm-hmm. And they won a conference championship, which is something they have not done since 1989.
So if you're spending that much money, it gets back to an entirely different discussion of like, are you best served as Duke to spread $4 million around to make your roster better, or is it best to spend it on a quarterback? I don't know. Like it's a philosophical
I think
debate.
Having the special quarterback elevates a roster considerably. But if you've already got the roster that can win you a national championship, then you don't need the super special quarterback.
The translation to that is if you're already Alabama or Georgia, then you spend less on your quarterback because you don't need quite as much out of them. And if you are Duke, you spend more.
And if you're Nebraska, you probably also spend more. I don't think Nebraska's in the point where it can spend less yet. They don't have the pieces around the quarterback. Ari, if you'd like to attend any of these college football playoff games that we're talking about, you can. We're about to talk about the Pop-Tarts Bowl. You can go to the Pop-Tarts Bowl with Game Time. Whatever game you want, whatever concert you want, whatever comedy show you want, Game Time has your tickets. Download the Game Time app, use the code STAPLES, and get $20 off your first purchase. If you want to go to Norman and watch Alabama play against Oklahoma, or you want to go to College Station and watch Texas A&M and Miami, those tickets are available right now on Game Time. You see in the app exactly where you're going to be sitting. The price you see is the price you pay. There's no added fees at checkout. It's just right there for you, and you don't have any stupid surprises. So go to Game Time, download the app, redeem the code STAPLES for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And get a ticket to any game, any concert, any comedy show, anywhere you want to be. Game Time has the tickets. Swipe, tap, ticket, go with Game Time. As promised, we're going to talk Pop-Tarts Bowl. So this is from our friends at Blue and Gold. That's our Notre Dame site. And on the message board at Blue and Gold, they came across the video that the Pop-Tarts Bowl posted of Brent Key, the Georgia Tech coach, and Kalani Sitake, the BYU coach, having a little fun with the trophy for the Pop-Tarts Bowl. The trophy for the Pop-Tarts Bowl is, of course, a working toaster, as well as being a trophy. Producer River, can you please play that video?
Oh, okay. Where you push down. Oh, it really toasted. Yeah. And then right here, you push a button. What did you do? Let's do it together. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There we go. You can eat them without toasting them too. I don't know if I've toasted them in years. Yeah, I just. Oh my goodness.
There, it should be warm.
It is. Oh wow. Are we supposed to eat this?
If you want.
Yeah. No, I would like to.
I'm not going to turn it down.
Yeah.
And for real?
It is the most delicious trophy I've ever had.
This is a great trophy.
It's you eat the human version.
Yeah, you get to eat the anthropomorphic mascot at the end if you win. But Kalani Sitake, former fullback, Brent Key, former offensive lineman, housing Pop-Tarts. And the thread on Blue and Gold, of course, is, could you imagine Marcus Freeman doing this? The insinuation here is that Marcus Freeman is too dignified to house a Pop-Tart after Notre Dame was jilted and left out of the college football playoff.
You remember my rant from the day after they announced the bowls, and I said,
I do, and that's the first thing I thought of. Refresh the memories.
Well, a lot of people are like, does your co-host even like college football? So then I'll just ask you, does anybody on Notre Dame's thread like college football? Like, I just understand that with the position that they were in, that the grab ass involved of going to the Pop-Tarts Bowl is not necessarily the cure for that. Like, I just like,
right. If they had lost a third game in the regular season and just been out of it,
Yeah.
They would be all in on this. They would be dying to eat the Pop-Tarts mascot after it went through the giant toaster at the end of the game.
And Marcus Freeman was a linebacker, but that dude is like ripped. So I can't picture him eating sugar in general, let alone in
Kalani Sitake, an untoasted Pop-Tarts guy.
What are you? Are you a toasted or untoasted guy?
I'm toasted only.
I think
I'm untoasted only in desperation situations.
Yeah, I mean, I ate a few of them. They had a Pop-Tarts bowl display at Big 12 Media Day, and I had a Pop-Tart. It was the first Pop-Tart I've had in years, but like I got it and I ate it raw and it was good. But everything's better toasted.
It's fine raw. It's amazing toasted.
Yeah, and I think that there does need to be something to be said about how Pop-Tarts, had a first quarter threat from the toaster strudel people, and then it turned into a blowout. Like the toaster strudel is like dead, right? Do people still buy those?
I think they still exist, but they don't have a bowl game.
Yeah, but I couldn't tell you, I see people, they sell Pop-Tarts in gas stations and stuff. I see Pop-Tarts everywhere. This is kind of like a Blimpie Subway scenario here. Right? It's like Blimpies do have a few locations still, but there was once a battle of which sub shop was going to win. Pop-Tarts blew out Toaster Strudel.
Oh, destroyed them. I also feel like Toaster Strudel with the little packet you have to, and the packet never rips correctly, and you end up with icing all over your hands. So Pop-Tarts, just a more convenient snack in general.
Yeah.
And you know what? We just spent 3 minutes talking about Pop-Tarts on our show, and they didn't pay us.
They're getting money.
That's why you did this.
Yeah. And I always appreciate when snacks that aren't good for you or breakfasts that wouldn't be deemed as health conscious, survive the fray, because I think we need more crap food out there. You know what I mean? I think these health people are taking this a little bit too far. These marathoners shut down my entire neighborhood on Sunday, and I'm still mad about it.
Still mad at them.
Yeah.
Listen, they can eat as many Pop-Tarts as they want. You know how many calories you burn running 26.2 miles?
I'm surprised you didn't yell, well, then don't buy a house around a lake.
Yes. Pop-Tarts Bowl, by the way, December 27th. BYU is a 4.5-point favorite. We will not do the match. What if Notre Dame had played BYU? We're not doing that.
Well, here's the other
people. The Notre Dame people are going to be all holier than thou about this and think they're too good for Pop-Tarts and be like, see, we got out of all this grab ass. We're too dignified for that. I get it. You're still mad. I
think that's what also makes people generally not like Notre Dame, because do you think that you're the only team that's disappointed? Do you don't think that
BYU is disappointed? They feel the same way you do.
Yeah. Georgia Tech and BYU were both teams that figured into the national championship, the CFP discussion in November. You're not the only ones that got left out. And BYU has a pretty strong case for being upset. Mm-hmm. Their strength of schedule, I don't know that I'm losing sleep over it, but they had good strength of schedule and wins. I think that you could make the case that BYU had a stronger resume than Notre Dame. So, and they're eating Pop-Tarts. So, why are you too good for it? I think that
they're not even toasting the Pop-Tarts, according to Kalani Sitake.
So I understand. And Pete Sampson wrote a story in The Athletic. I'm sure you read it because Pete's awesome. But he basically wrote out a list of guys that may have or would have opted out. And it was a list of 15 or 20 guys. And I understand, but then save us the bull about oh, we're going to stick it to the TV people. It's if you think that everyone's just not going to play in the game and it's not worth going, that's completely different than the narrative that was spun, which is, we're doing this to get back at the TV networks. That's not what happened here. What happened here was you were disappointed. Nobody was going to play in it. And you didn't want to play.
Sometimes you just want Pop-Tarts. All right, before we move on to a thread from the Wolverine, that's our Michigan site, about, you guessed it, the Michigan coaching search. We got to talk about our friends at Panini. PaniniAmerica.net is the place to go to collect your favorite college and NFL stars. And I want to bring up a card you showed on yesterday's show. That would be the Quinn Ewers booklet, because Quinn Ewers, as of today, is a starting quarterback in the National Football League.
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah. So there's the photo. Really cool. Quinn Ewers booklet, him in his Texas uniform. He's autographed it. This is the kind of cool stuff that you can get from Panini. That it's not just the guys in the NFL now. It's, guys from when they were in college, and you can get cool patches, autographs. There's so much cool stuff available. So go to paniniamerica.net to start your collection today. And maybe you pull something like this, which Ari doesn't have it with him anymore because he got it on eBay and in the mail very quickly, because there's never been a better time to sell a Quinn Ewers card, because Quinn Ewers, again, starting NFL quarterback who hasn't played a game yet.
That's a starting NFL quarterback rookie numbered card. And if you think you're a Quinn Ewers person, I mean, that's part of the game, right? Are you a holder? Are you a seller? Are you I don't know that I believe that he's going to be a 10-year starter in the league, but you know what? He was really good in college. And by the way, you don't have to collect like me. You can keep everything. Like, I sell and trade and I do all these things. I love ripping the wax personally, and trying to make the most of my investments, and that's fun for me. But that's the thing I love about the hobby. And then one thing I wanted to say about that card, and I would suggest it to every single college athlete who does a signature: when you include your number in your signature, I think that is badass. Like, if I was like a good enough player to ever like have a number like that, like I would put it in my signature too. Look at that.
Always. Absolutely. It's a beautiful thing. PaniniAmerica.net is where you go to start your collection today. Thank you to Panini for sponsoring this show.
Love you, Panini.
Now, back to the mega board. We go to the Wolverine. That's our Michigan site. Jacksco Blue 16 posted this week. The headline of it is, let's just say Bama loses. And the next line of it is, and we get Kalen DeBoer. Does Bama go after Dabo or Dillingham? What if they win? Does Brent Venables come into play? Let me translate that question for you. What this person is asking is, if Alabama beats Oklahoma, will Michigan then go after Brent Venables? That's where the Michigan coaching search is now, folks.
By the way, as we were recording yesterday, going live, Kenny Dillingham made a very interesting remark. And
you had a great column about it. Yes.
And I think we should talk about that for like 3 seconds, because I thought it was revelatory and a very important thing. But,
yes,
Kenny Dillingham, and I'll go pull up my column here because I did write about it, and was asked about social media and like how Arizona State fans are in a tizzy right now, worried about whether he's going to be there long term. And they asked one of the reporters there, who cut right to the heart of the issue, and I appreciate that. I don't know who asked it, but they asked the perfect question at the right time. Well, since we're talking about social media, would you like to take this opportunity to ease the minds of your fans? And Kenny Dillingham wrote, or said back, and I'm going to read the quote. I think my job is to do whatever I can for the people who are with me. The people in the foxhole, the coaches in the foxhole with me. I got to do whatever I can to fight for those people, for my family, for everything from that perspective. I love it here. I've said that since day one, and that's absolutely never changing. Which I thought was the absolute perfect threading of the needle for any coach that's in Kenny Dillingham's shoes. And I want to like give him a round of applause, because he's 35 years old, and this is a carousel veteran move. Because what did he do there, Andy? He did 2 things. One, he left the door open of, didn't go quite as sternly as Kalen DeBoer did, right? He didn't say, I'm not interested, and I'm not interested in having a discussion with anybody. I'm staying here. I'm happy here. I'm focused on here. That read to me, if you're signaling to Michigan people, hey, buddy, phone's working, paid my bill, give me a call, let's talk this thing through. And then on the other hand, reiterated to Arizona State that this would be a good time for you to pay me more money and pay my staff more money and give us more resources to build it how we want to build it. So I don't know how Kenny Dillingham is going to, how this is all going to shake out, or if he becomes a more sought after or more serious candidate if Kalen DeBoer says no or wins the game on Saturday. But from a negotiation standpoint, he played that like a Hall of Fame masterclass, right? Like that was perfect. And I think that if you're Michigan, that is the bad signal of like, hey, I'm willing to have a conversation. Did I interpret that correctly?
I think you did. And I think it's different than what Kalen DeBoer said. And that's why the person who posted the thread, their assumption is that Kalen DeBoer will just jump to Michigan if he loses. I don't think that's the case.
Right. I think that the Kalen DeBoer thing is starting to irritate me. Like, it's like, I don't think it's happening, and we keep talking about it, or people keep talking about it as if like if he loses, he's going to Michigan. Like I don't think if he loses, he's going to Michigan, Andy. Like maybe I'm naive.
So
Am I naive?
he got to ask a question about whether he'll be Alabama's coach next season. This is during the press conference. And he says, all right, I put out a statement yesterday. This is in the Monday press conference. I put out a statement yesterday because first of all, our guys handle distractions phenomenally. It's been that way all season long. They continue to do that. But I also knew yesterday and today was pretty important. I wasn't going to see you until today to address it. That's why I put it out there. A lot of the same things I said before a couple of weeks ago when asked really the same question. He's talking about the Penn State question. Just feel completely supported. My family loves living here. Just all the things that we continue to build on. I love the progress. I haven't talked with anyone. No plans of talking with anyone. Now, you can wiggle out of that. I think that's a lot of what I said a couple weeks ago, and it continues to be the same thing. Feel strong about it. Our guys, if there's any distraction, I haven't seen it. I haven't felt it. And so I'm really proud of the way they've handled whatever noise is out there. Okay, so he gets asked again. Charlie Potter from Bama Online goes, will you be Alabama's coach next season? Yes, Charlie, yes, is what he said.
Yeah.
That is different than what Kenny Dillingham said.
No, Kenny Dillingham took the scenic route.
Yeah.
And listen, even if you have full intention of staying, you gain nothing by saying it the way that, he did, the way that Kalen DeBoer did. Now, my assumption or my thought or suspicion, at least,
I think they're already down the road on another deal for Kalen DeBoer.
Like
so
Kalen DeBoer
why
has
you can say
already
it.
gotten what he needs in order to feel comfortable saying that. Kenny Dillingham should be fighting for every cent that he can get from a support standpoint, whether that be into his pocket or his staff's pocket. Like, I actually thought that he was quite frank about his negotiation tactic in the answer. His responsibility is to take care of the people in the foxhole with him, which means it's my responsibility to squeeze out every last droplet or every cent out of the rag that I can right now, so that the people on my staff and the people in the foxhole with me can be more well off or more taken care of. And then I also think too that maybe this circles the wagons a little bit around Arizona State football and a more stringent support for the program and the players that will be playing for him. So even if he has no interest in ever leaving Arizona State, which by the way, through this behavior, there should be doubt on that. You still have to do this to play your leverage, because leverage is rare in life. And when you have it, you should try to make the most of it. And I think he's done a good job of that. That doesn't mean that I think he's leaving. I think he did a good job of making the most of the situation that he's in right now.
So I think Kalen DeBoer's thing is similar, where everybody's assuming if it's a new deal with Alabama, it's for more money. And maybe it is for more money, but it also might be for more NIL money. It might be for more money for staff. And that's why you string this out. And although I think Kalen DeBoer has done as much as he humanly can do to poo-poo this, it sounds like Michigan's going to wait and see what he wants to do anyway.
I'm a little confused about, and you're better at this. I'm no Pete Nakos, at back channeling agent discussions that are happening behind the scenes that, are beneath the waters, but we're not looking there. Or as a fan, you're not in the water, right, engaged in this.
You're not thinking about in those terms. Yeah.
The thing that is kind of confusing me, and you can walk me through this as if I'm 5 years old, but if Kalen DeBoer's representation has been alerted of his intentions, and they're all on the same page of Alabama is the place, and that's going to be the place. He is staying there. He has no intention of leaving. The act of waiting for the game to conclude seems kind of like a waste of time and stupid to me.
Well, also you can't, but the thing is, you can't control what Michigan does. If Michigan wants to wait, and you're Jimmy Sexton or you're Davis Horton, these are the two agents who work with Kalen DeBoer at CAA. If Michigan has indicated it will wait and is willing to wait to see what happens with this game, to talk to your guy, your job is to keep all lines of communication open, because it means more money down the road eventually. However you get it.
Yeah.
Because your job's to make the most money for your client. That's your job.
Michigan, through this behavior, has illustrated that they do not believe the words coming out of his mouth.
Correct.
Period. So if Michigan itself, the entity, the administration, the people who are stroking the checks don't believe it, then why would their fans?
Exactly. And look, whatever will happen will happen. My guess is whatever will happen quickly after the game on Friday. And I don't think it'll be Kalen DeBoer coaching Michigan. Now, I think it's funny that our poster here on the board thinks suddenly they might, like if Alabama wins and all of a sudden Oklahoma's out of the playoff, that they just suddenly shift to Brent Venables.
I mean, the thing that had me scratching my head more than anything is that Dabo's name keeps popping up on these threads.
Yeah, guys, Dabo's not getting hired by anybody else. He's not earning the paycheck at Clemson right now.
Yeah.
So nobody's going to hire him for the same amount of money to coach somewhere else when he's not performing commensurate with his salary at Clemson.
Yeah. And Dabo isn't a quick fix guy. That's the other thing. It took him years to build Clemson into a juggernaut during the old days. And he certainly isn't a portal pistol popper, you know? That was a...
Well, he just said they're going to do it the right way and wait until January 2nd. Yeah,
but he's not like a...
I'm guessing they're going to do it like everybody else, but that's just me.
If you want a good steward of a program and somebody that you think is going to stabilize a place and be consistently good over a long period of time, I think Dabo would be a tremendous hire at the right price. And I don't think that anyone's in the market for that person right now, though. Everyone's in the market for the program savior that's going to win big immediately.
And if you're going to pay what Dabo gets paid now, and look, if you're Dabo, you're not leaving Clemson for a lower paying job because that would be stupid. So no one is going to pay him what he makes now unless it's to win national titles.
Yeah.
That's the whole
point.
point.
What's interesting about Dabo is if they have another year next year that is similar to this year, like how far away are we from Clemson finding a new coach? Like, are we 3 years removed
I think
from that,
if their year is like this year, then there will be serious discussions at the end of next season. Okay. Yeah. So, but as far as Michigan goes, I don't think they would shift to Venables if Alabama beats Oklahoma. I think Dillingham's on the list. I think Clark Lee's on the list. I think Jed Fish is on the list. Let me throw another one out there because we talked about Jesse Mentor, former Michigan defensive coordinator, still working with Jim Harbaugh. And we've talked about, both of us have agreed they probably should just move on from the Harbaugh tree. But can I ask you one? Can I just throw this out there?
Yeah.
There's been some rumblings about John Harbaugh and the Ravens. What if Michigan, instead of saying we're out of the Harbaugh business, was like, John Harbaugh, come on down?
That's a wild, but somewhat understandable thought process. He won a Super Bowl.
I don't think they would do that. I don't think John is leaving the Ravens after this year anyway. But
I watched this YouTube video last night of Jim Harbaugh driving around Malibu with someone else.
Judge Judy?
No, he was driving around Malibu in a Porsche with somebody or something. I can't remember. I was scrolling. I didn't watch the whole thing. But they showed clips of him hugging his brother after the Super Bowl. And I got to say, of all the shitty things that you would have to live life through, like losing the Super Bowl to your brother has got to be the worst thing in the world, right? Because like you're so close to achieving like the peak of football lore. And like the emotional aspect of like my brother gets that and I don't would be wild.
The anonymous person you couldn't remember him driving around Malibu with, by the way.
Did you figure it out?
Yeah, Peyton Manning.
It's Peyton Manning. Okay. Did you like Google? Like, did you just YouTube search it real quick?
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh Malibu. Pretty simple.
Yeah. And what was he driving? It was a sick car. I mean, it came up on my classic car YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice looking car. But I don't think they continue in the Harbaugh business. I think it does happen fairly quickly because I think they asked DeBoer and he's like, no, I told you I was staying in Alabama. And then they move on to the rest of the list. And somebody on the rest of the list, whether it's Kenny Dillingham, Clark Lee, Jed Fish, is going to say yes.
Yeah. I don't know who that's going to be.
That's what happens.
But I think Kenny Dillingham would be an interesting candidate, and I can't wait to see how that plays out. And good for you for playing your
Eli
card.
Drinkwitz, that's another one. Again, we talked about it yesterday. I know you all hate him. You wouldn't if he was your coach. Just throwing that out there.
Yep.
Oh, Michigan, Ohio State would be spectacular with Eli Drinkwitz coaching one of the teams.
Yeah, like Jim Harbaugh got disrespectful. I don't know if Eli Drinkwitz would be disrespectful. Like,
He'd
I don't
be
think
highly disrespectful, but funny.
Yeah, I don't know if he would attack humans on a personal level the way that Harbaugh did.
I think if he got mad at them, he would.
Yeah. Maybe I'm underestimating his pettiness.
We stand on business, Josh.
Yeah, that's like benign compared to saying someone was born on third base, I think. But like, I only make the point of like,
he said it to his face. I think that probably counts for more.
Yeah, that does count for more. But like when you think about what the Ohio State-Michigan game had 2 years ago, not this past one, or 3 years ago, the camera scandal one. It was Ryan Day not being able to beat Michigan. It was the born on third
base. And Sharon Moore as the
Sharon Moore stuff. It was
acting coach. Yeah.
You want to talk about like a supercharged like feelings narrative game? I don't think that Ohio State will ever be able to do that again with Michigan. Like I don't think you can ever get that much juiciness into one matchup. But Eli, come on down and try. I mean, I want you to try. Yeah.
Well, we got to convince the Michigan fans of this. We got to get them on board. I don't know if we can.
The funny thing about coaching hires is that they don't really have a choice unless you're in Knoxville. So, you might just be along for the ride.
What a segue, Ari, because our last Megaboard thread is from our friends at VolQuest.
Okay.
Austin Price, the excellent reporter at VolQuest, posted a thread called Some QB Thoughts. And it's a question about what does Tennessee do at quarterback next year? Because obviously Joey Aguilar is out of eligibility. Brendan Sorsby is in the portal. And Austin makes a very interesting case for Tennessee trying to go after Brendan Sorsby.
Is Brendan Sorsby like a moderately better version of Joey Aguilar?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd say moderately better because it's hard to say if he's better or equal or not as good because he played in the Big 12 and obviously Joey Aguilar did what he did in the SEC. I thought Joey Aguilar was really good this year. But I look at Brendan Sorsby's skill set and you put him with better receivers and more athletic offensive linemen, and I bet he's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think we should take 30 seconds to like give Joey Aguilar a round of applause.
Yeah,
because
he was awesome.
When you think about the narrative of everything that was going on at the time, like there was like this week where it felt like Tennessee was screwed, right? They were far from screwed. He played beautifully for them, I think. Now, was he the best quarterback in the country? No. But, he gave Tennessee production that was even lacking when Nico was there. And I thought that it was very exciting football for a large portion of the year. I thought he did a really good job. I do think that Tennessee should be in the market for a big catch here, though.
Well, but let me stop you there because Tennessee just signed George McIntyre to Nashville. He was redshirting this year. I don't think Jake Merklinger is in the future plans, but Faison Brandon most certainly feels like he's in the future plans. That's the 5-star quarterback that Tennessee just signed.
Yep.
And this gets to the heart of what we're talking about with these quarterbacks in the portal. And do you go for the veteran, the Brendan Sorsby, the proven type, the Sam Levitt type, or do you pay the 5-star, have him come play immediately, or do you go get the veteran, have the 5-star waiting? That would be what Ohio State did with Will Howard and Julian Sayin sitting there in the wings. What's the right move here?
Who signed first? I don't remember who signed first. Sayin or Howard? I can't remember who was first on the scene. I don't know if that matters, but I assume that Tennessee opened the pocketbook up.
I would. Howard was first. So Howard committed to Ohio State on January 4th, 2024. Nick Saban was still coaching Alabama.
That's what I thought. Now, the thing that gets interesting is do you do anything if you're Tennessee that would potentially disrupt ties with the player you just opened your checkbook for? And like, is Faison Brandon going to be this year's Bryce Underwood?
Well, the thing about it, though, is if you've got a guy who is on his last year of eligibility, if that's who you're bringing in, then it should be a signal to your 5-star that it's yours next year.
Yeah. Right. 1 year rental, I think, plays better than dude with multiple years left to start over you. What's the healthiest way to do it? I don't know. But like Faison Brandon,
the healthiest way, if you've got an unlimited checkbook, which that may be the case with Tennessee, is you get the 1 year remaining really proven guy and tell the 5-star it's your team next year. And then that gives you the season to figure out if it really is your team next year.
But then you also put yourself in a position, if you're Tennessee, though, where you have a sunken cost of the money you're spending on that player, the way they did with Nico for an entire year, and then they didn't get their money back. Unless you think that it worked out because they made the playoff. So, like, I don't know. Did Tennessee's investment in Nico Iamaleava pay itself back? Or do you think that they have, like...
They made the playoff, yes. I'd say it paid off.
Because, like...
Now, you can argue that he wasn't the real reason they made the playoff, but... a worse quarterback and they may lose one more game and they don't make the playoff.
Yeah. Faison Brandon, it's important to point out, is like 6'4" and is like a massive human and was a top 10 player nationally. So this isn't just like any 5-star. This is like a person who's got an NFL body. So like, I don't know like what the expectations are.
DJ Lightway has an NFL body. How'd that work out?
I know. I'm just saying, like, if you think about types of freshmen that could conceivably start and play at a high level.
Now, Brendan Sorsby also has an NFL body, so that's and he can do it at this level.
I think you what I'm trying to make a case is that who doesn't have an NFL body? Nico Iamaleava, or he didn't when he got there.
Didn't when he got there, yeah.
Yeah. So like the need for the year might not be there in a way that it was when Nico showed up.
Yeah, and I think it's a fascinating conversation because this is not just a Tennessee conversation. This is an everybody conversation.
For sure.
This is a philosophical and structural conversation of how do you spend your money? Because in college football, you pay, like if we're using NFL equivalents, you're paying free agent top dollar money for a 5-star quarterback prospect.
Yes.
But chances are you're paying it for that person to not play. The difference in the NFL now, like it didn't used to be this way. Like in the NFL, it used to be you had to negotiate with the first draft pick, and they finally stopped it after the Sam Bradford contract because the veterans were all like, what the hell's going on here? This guy's getting so much guaranteed money.
Yeah.
But it used to be you'd sink those costs if you didn't play that guy right away.
Yeah.
Now they don't do that. Now, like when the Chiefs had Patrick Mahomes on the bench for his rookie season behind Alex Smith, they were paying him a very cost-controlled amount.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a much safer play that way. Now, in college, you are paying top dollar if you have that 5-star prospect sitting on the bench, and I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. You want to be paying top dollar to people who impact the games. Like
yes, I want to pay top dollar to an offensive tackle, to a defensive tackle that will help me win right now. Yeah.
But, I still think that there's always going to be a market for Faison Brandon. Always.
There will. And that's the question. I do think, again, it's up to Tennessee. And if you have the money, you do both. Tennessee strikes me as one that has the money.
Yep.
So it's a tough decision, but it's one of the, I'm fascinated to see how this all works going forward, because I think this has been an unusual cycle with quarterbacks, and we're learning things every day. And we're going to learn a lot more when we see who takes whom in January. Who pays up, who doesn't, who's like, we're going to go with the guys we signed out of high school. We're going to learn a lot. I guess we'll find out what Tennessee's going to do. Ari, it's been an absolute pleasure. Love the Megaboard. Love those On3 message boards, because it's just so much fun talking about the stuff that matters to you guys and seeing how passionate you guys are on the message board. So I love that.
Wednesday is my favorite show of the week. You want to know why? Because it's like 5 mini shows of great discussion about pertinent topics that I love being guided by that, because I felt like we had really good discussion about a bunch of different things that like pertains to everybody. And it's a very smooth, I really enjoy doing today's show. I just wanted to tell you that.
Yeah, I love it too. And so keep posting on those On3 message boards. If you're not a member of On3 yet, but you want to be, now's the time. Go to on3.com/join and you get your favorite team site coverage. You get to be on the message board of your favorite team. You get to read the message boards of your rivals, see what's bugging them. Maybe you go needle them a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's the most fun you can have with your pants on. So join On3. That's going to be our new slogan, by the way, our tagline.
Wow. Yeah, I actually think you should write that down.
On3.com/join. Tomorrow, we have a very special guest. Casey Smith from Barstool will join us. She's an Aggie. We see how she's feeling going into the moment where the Aggies have a chance to grab legitimacy, to win a game in the college football playoff, the thing that has eluded them for so long. They're right there now. We'll see if she's nervous. But we'll also talk the rest of college football playoff. And dear Andy, dear Ari, get those questions to us. You know where to find us. Andy Staples on3@gmail.com, Ari.Wasserman@on3.com. And Ari's just laughing about my...
Go get him, Ags!
We'll talk to you tomorrow.